Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Election Night 2020. This is the result of a grueling primary battle for the Vice President Joe Biden, who is now facing off against the incumbent President Donald J. Trump. We're going to start off here by looking at the balance of power in the Senate. Currently, the Democrats hold 47 seats and the Republicans hold 53 seats. 51 are needed to control the Senate, and 50 if you hold the White House, so the Vice President can pick a tie. Now, starting off with the 7 p.m. poll closings here, we have poll closings from the states of Indiana, Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Vermont, and Missouri. From the state of Indiana, we have 11 electoral votes predicted to go to Donald Trump. From the state of Kentucky, we have 8 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. From the state of South Carolina, we have 9 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. And from the state of Missouri, we have 10 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. From the state of Vermont, we have 3 electoral votes projected to go to Vice President Joe Biden. No surprises in any of those states. In the state of Virginia, 13 electoral votes. Joe Biden is winning currently 52.4% to Donald Trump's 42.1%, with only 3% of the vote recorded. From the state of Georgia, 16 electoral votes. Joe Biden at 44.5%, Donald Trump at 49.2%, with over a 5-point lead, almost a 5-point lead there, with 14% of the vote in. Now looking at the electoral map here, we have Donald Trump at 38 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 3 electoral votes. Now it's time for our 7:30 p.m. poll closings from the states of Ohio, West Virginia, and North Carolina. And we have a projection to make the state of West Virginia, and its 5 electoral votes are projected to go to President Donald Trump. From the state of Ohio, Donald Trump has an early lead of almost 6%, 52.1% to 46.3% lead for Donald Trump, with 7% of the vote in. That is for 18 electoral votes. And from the state of North Carolina, we have Joe Biden with 47.0% of the vote to Donald Trump's 51.4% of the vote. That is for 15 electoral votes, with 17% of the vote recording. Now to look at the expanding lead for the Republicans in the electoral map. The Republicans have 43 electoral votes to Democrats' 3 electoral votes, with 62 electoral votes to close the call. Now we have poll closings from many states here. I am not going to read the map for you, but we have many projections to make. To start off with, North Dakota, 3 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. Mississippi, 6 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. South Dakota, 3 electoral votes, projected to go to Donald Trump. Tennessee, 11 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. Kansas, 6 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. Oklahoma, 7 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. Alabama, 9 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. Now we have some projections for Joe Biden. Illinois, with 20 electoral votes, a large sum of electoral votes here projected to go to Joe Biden. Maine, 3 of its 4 electoral votes, Maine's 1st District and Maine at large, are projected to go to Joe Biden. Rhode Island, with its 4 electoral votes, are projected to go to Vice President Joe Biden. Connecticut, with its 7 electoral votes, are projected to go to Vice President Joe Biden. New Jersey, with 14 electoral votes, are projected to go to Joe Biden. Delaware, with its 3 electoral votes, his home state where he was senator for 40 years, is projected to go to him. Maryland, with 11 electoral votes, are projected to go to Joe Biden. Washington, D.C., with its 3 electoral votes, the most Democratic part of the country, are projected to go to Joe Biden. Now from the state of Texas, where polls have closed, Joe Biden has an early lead of just 0.6%, with 48.8% to Donald Trump's 48.2%, with only 2% of the vote recorded, for a massive 38 electoral votes. From the state of Michigan, 16 electoral votes, the state Donald Trump won in 2016 with a flip. Joe Biden trailing here with a 47.4% of the vote to Donald Trump's 48.1% of the vote, with 8% of the vote recording. From the state of Pennsylvania, with 20 electoral votes, a stock Donald Trump also flipped in 2016. Joe Biden has an early lead here of 0.9%, with 49.1% of the vote to Donald Trump's 48.2% of the vote, with 7% of the vote recorded. From the state of New Hampshire, 4 electoral votes, Joe Biden has an early lead, early deficit, 49.1% to Donald Trump's 49.3%, with 13% of the vote reported. From Maine's 2nd District, a flip Donald Trump had 46.8% of the vote for Joe Biden to 51% of the vote for Donald Trump, 17% of the vote in. From the state of Florida, one of the closest states to this election, Joe Biden, 48.7% of the vote to Donald Trump's 50.2% of the vote, with 2% in, 59 electoral votes. Now looking at the electoral map here, The Republicans, Donald Trump, have 88 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 76 electoral votes, with 172 electoral votes too close to call. Now it's time for our 8:30 p.m. poll closings from the state of Arkansas, with 6 electoral votes that are projected to go to Donald Trump. Looking at the map here, not much has changed, but we have 94 Republican votes projected to go to Donald Trump to Joe Biden. It's 76 electoral votes, with 172 electoral votes too close to call. Now time for our 9 p.m. poll closings from Arizona, New York, Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Louisiana. From the state of Wyoming, 3 electoral votes projected to go to the president. From the state of Nebraska, 4 of its 5 electoral votes using a proportion system are projected to go to the president. From the state of Louisiana, we have 8 electoral votes projected to go to the president. From the state of New York, with a huge sum, second largest for the Democrats from the last election, we'll see about this time, 29 electoral votes projected to go to Vice President Joe Biden here. From the state of New Mexico, 5 electoral votes projected to go to Joe Biden. From the state of Arizona, it is still too close to call, with 51.2% of the vote for Joe Biden and 46.8% of the vote for Donald Trump, with 8% in that is for 11 electoral votes. From the state of Colorado, Joe Biden has a commanding lead of almost 10 points, 54.1%, 44.4%. With 8% of the vote in, with 9 electoral votes. From Nebraska's 2nd District, 1 electoral vote. Donald Trump has largely with 17% of the vote. Minnesota, a close lead in the last election, definitely going to be close this time, 4% in. Joe Biden, 48.8% of the vote. Donald Trump, 47.9% of the vote. 10 electoral votes contested here. Wisconsin, one of the closest states, definitely of the last election and definitely for this election too. Donald Trump has a 6-point lead, just over 6-point lead, with 15% of the vote in. Now looking at the electoral map. 1 electoral vote difference. Democrats, Joe Biden has 110 electoral votes. 2 Republicans, 109 electoral votes, with 212 too close to call. We now have a key race alert here. The Alabama Senate seat that Doug Jones had, who had pretty much given up on his seat, has been picked up by Jeff Sessions. That is a pickup for the Republicans in the Senate. Now it is time for our 10 p.m. poll closings from the states of Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Iowa, and Montana. From the state of Utah, 6 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. From the state of Idaho, 3 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. From the state of Montana, another 3 electoral votes projected to go to Donald Trump. From the state of Nevada, it is too close to call, but Joe Biden has an early lead of just over 6% of the vote, 52.3 to 46.2, with 8% in, that is for 6 electoral votes. From the state of Iowa, Donald Trump has over a 10-point lead here, with only 3% of the vote in for 6 electoral votes. In the state of Florida, an update here. Donald Trump maintains his commanding lead of just under 7% of the vote, with 36% of the vote reporting. That is again for 29 electoral votes. Looking at the Electoral College map here, we have 122 electoral votes for Donald Trump to Joe Biden's 110 electoral votes, with 224 electoral votes still too close to call, and 82 electoral votes with the polls open. Now we have a flip here to make a projection here. Ohio, a state that the Republicans 100% need to win this election, has gone to Donald Trump with its 18 electoral votes, a huge win for Donald Trump. And now another victory here. Georgia, another swing state victory for Donald Trump with its 16 electoral votes. Even with the trends blue, it is flipped. In the state of North Carolina, an update here. Donald Trump has 48.3% of the vote to Joe Biden's 46% of the vote. That is a 1.6% lead, with 62% of the vote reporting 15 electoral votes. Looking at the Electoral College map here, the Republicans take the lead here with 157 electoral votes to Democrats' 129 electoral votes, with 170 electoral votes too close to call, and polls open in 82 electoral votes. Now we have a key race alert to make here. The Colorado Senate seat. This is a Democratic pickup. Cory Gardner's seat of the Republicans has been lost to John Hickenlooper, the former governor and the Democratic challenger. We have another projection to make for the Senate. Sarah Gideon has taken over Susan Collins' seat, flipped Susan Collins' seat to get control of that seat in Maine for the Senate. Now it is time for our 11 p.m. poll closings from the state of Washington, California, Oregon, and Hawaii. We have some projections to make from the state of Washington. 12 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In the state of California, the most number of electoral votes, 55 electoral votes, going to Joe Biden. And now we have another projection to make 4 electoral votes from the state of Hawaii going to Joe Biden. No surprises there. From the state of Oregon, Joe Biden has a 16.1% lead with 6% of the vote in, with 7 electoral votes. And we have another projection to make here, a swing state, Nevada, and its 6 electoral votes have gone to Joe Biden, and another swing state here projected to go for Joe Biden, Colorado, with its 9 electoral votes. And another big one here, Virginia, with a lot of establishment Democrats, has voted for Joe Biden with its 13 electoral votes. And the state of New Hampshire, many wins for the Democrats here, 4 electoral votes has gone to Joe Biden. But the state of Iowa, some hope for the Republicans and the president here. 6 electoral votes have been projected to go to the president. And from the state of Texas here, a big win, state that's trending blue, but the Republicans have been able to win 38 electoral votes from the state of Texas, and Donald Trump has won that state. From the state of Michigan, it is still too close to call. 48% of the vote in. It is razor thin, 0.2% difference, 49.1 to 48.9, with 16 electoral votes with 40% of the vote. Reporting from the state of Minnesota, a commanding lead for Joe Biden, 5.4% lead with 81% of the vote in, 10 electoral votes. From the state of Wisconsin, Donald Trump has a 1.1% lead for 10 electoral votes with 37% of the vote in. From the state of Pennsylvania, many Rust Belt swing states here, 54% of the vote in. Donald Trump has 49.1% of the vote to Joe Biden's 48.3% of the vote, just under a 1-point lead there for Donald Trump for its 20 electoral votes. Looking at the electoral map here, both sides are getting closer to the 270 mark. Democrats at 215, Republicans at 202. Too close to call is at 118 if you look at the Rust Belt and Florida and Arizona and a couple other states here and there, and 3 electoral votes still open with the state of Alaska. We have a projection to make now. Oregon, and it's 7 electoral votes have been projected to go to Joe Biden. No surprise there. But the state of Minnesota, a large swing state Trump thought he could win, and its 10 electoral votes have been projected to go to Joe Biden. Nebraska's 2nd district and its 1 electoral vote have been projected to go to Donald Trump. From the state of Arizona, Joe Biden has a 0.1% lead for its 11 electoral votes with 62% of the vote being counted. Now, if we look at the map here, Democrats have 232 electoral votes, the Republicans 202. Now, Arizona now has just been projected to go to Donald Trump. It was at a razor-thin margin, but Donald Trump has been able to eke out a victory here. In the state of North Carolina, a big win here for Donald Trump. He's been able to maintain the state of North Carolina and its 15 electoral votes. But from the state of Michigan, a huge flip tonight. 16 electoral votes have been projected to go to Joe Biden from the state of Michigan. Now looking at the map here, Democrats, Joe Biden at 248 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 228 electoral votes. Only 3 states left. Donald Trump will have to win them all to be able to win the White House. That is Florida, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Now we have a key race alert to tell you about here. In the Arizona Senate seat, Mark Kelly has flipped Martha McSally's seat for the Senate. That gives the Democrats a good hope at getting the Senate back if they win the presidency. But that is a big flip there for Mark Kelly in the Senate seat. Now looking at Florida, 90% of the vote in, and they are both at 49% of the vote. It is a tie for its 29 electoral votes. That's going to go down to the wire. Looking at Pennsylvania here, Joe Biden has a 0.1% lead with 92% of the vote in, 49.3% to 49.2% for its 20 electoral votes. We now have a key race alert to make here. The key race alert, balance of the House, balance of power in the House. Democrats currently have 233 seats in the House. Before this, 2 Republicans, 197. The Democrats have gained 6 seats, and the Republicans have lost 6 seats. And with all seats being called, the Democrats are at 239 to the Republicans 191. The Democrats will maintain control of the U.S. House of Representatives. Now it is time for our 1 a.m. poll closings, and Alaska's 3 electoral votes are projected to go to Donald Trump. We have a key race alert here. This is a big one. The state of Pennsylvania has been projected to go to Joe Biden. This is a huge flip for its 20 electoral votes to Joe Biden. But looking at Wisconsin here, Joe Biden is trailing by 0.5% with 90% of the vote left for its 10 electoral votes. Donald Trump has a glimmer of hope here. Looking at the electoral map, Democrats are only 2 electoral votes away. 268 electoral votes for Joe Biden to Donald Trump's 231 electoral votes. And now, a huge projection here. The state of Florida has been projected to go to Donald Trump. This is a huge win, a win that Donald Trump needs at this point to be able to win back the White House. Looking at the electoral map now, we have Donald Trump at 260 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 268 electoral votes. It all comes down to the state of Wisconsin, who is going to win it. We now have a key race alert here. The state of Wisconsin has been projected to go to Joe Biden. And what this does, this makes Joe Biden get to 278 electoral votes, crossing the line to Donald Trump's 260 electoral votes. This makes Joe Biden the 46th president of the United States. Joe Biden will win this election, defeating Donald Trump by 278 to 260. We're looking at the balance of power in the Senate here. A Democratic pickup, Cal Cunningham beating Thom Tillis in North Carolina Senate election. It just keeps getting better for Democrats. Looking at the balance of power in the Senate, the Democrats control 50 seats, and the Republicans control 50 seats. But now with a vice president under the Biden administration, the Democrats now control the House, Senate, and presidency. Looking at the Electoral College, we have again 278 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 260 electoral votes. With the popular vote, a landslide for Joe Biden, 67,850,784. Popular vote totals to Donald Trump, 62,874,632 million votes. So those are the vote totals. A high turnout election here. That is the end of this election night. That is the end of this video too. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I put a lot of effort into making this video. This has been a long video too. We're almost at 18 minutes here now. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.